Hello, everybody. It's Kellie J, host of Conscious Speaks, and today we have an amazing show for you, spirit-led, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm so excited today, and we're going to have a good friend that's coming to the show, a new friend, and her name is Dr. Jumei Zhang, and she has an amazing story to tell, and I am really excited to introduce my friend to the show. The Joy of Letting Go of Your Biomedical Career, The Ultimate Quitter's Guide to Flourish Without Burnout, is the book that Dr. Jumei wrote, and she is a life coach, a founder of HOE, Holistic Wellness, an assistant professor of medicine at the section of hematology and oncology, Department of Medicine, Boston University School of Medicine. And if you go to www.hoeholisticwellness.com, you can get a copy of Dr. Jumei's new book, and she has it there for you for free. You can download it, The Joy of Letting Go of Your Biomedical Career, The Ultimate Quitter's Guide to Flourish Without the Burnout. Let's give a warm, conscious welcome to Dr. Jumei Zhang. Hi, Jumei. How are you doing?
Hi, Kelly. I'm here. Very exciting to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to be here too. I was so excited, and I have been, just spending time with your book. Well, I just think I look at your life, and I read your book, and it's such an amazing transformation story. We've talked a couple times during the week, and you've done. I'm going to bounce around a little bit here because I have a good way of keeping track of it. It's kind of a gift, but you'd been an academic student your whole life. You had your parents who loved you and supported you, and were there guiding you and helping you every step of the way with your education, so you could, grow and become everything they wanted you to be, right? and everything that you thought you did too. But it's a part of the journey, right?
Exactly.
It's interesting because you said, where's that? You said that you didn't realize that it was their approval you'd been seeking your whole life.
Right, right. It feels like I always paid a lot of attention to people's opinion, especially my parents, and what they wanted me to be, or maybe part of their dream. And I think that's the way I should love them, by just becoming what they want me to be. So that's like a major part of the journey.
Yeah, it is, right? Because without that whole first part, the second part doesn't really happen at all.
Right,
And
right.
so, you get to you get to start your biomedical career. You're one of the top research. I mean, there's so many amazing credentials I could give you in from reading this book with your brilliance of your career. But you said, that the medical professional, the field for medical professionals is one of the unhealthiest because of that determination and drive. I think you said it's in a pressure cooker. You feel like you're in a pressure cooker with no room for breathing. Can you enlighten on that?
Yeah, and to be in the biomedical field, whether to be trained as a physician later or to be a biomedical research scientist, the training is quite like a boot camp. So it definitely gives you a lot of practice on endurance, how you deal with pressure. But the structure and the expectation of it really bring it to the point that a lot of like a physician and scientist both under too much pressure that they have no room to breathe. And when you have no room to breathe, you feel like you don't have the full freedom, and you don't have the freedom, you lose your creativity. And that really is the opposite, very opposite to what you want to be as a scientist, as a physician. You want to be creative. You want to have the power, the freedom to create something and to help people, especially to be healthy. And the irony really is statistically people in the healthcare and in the biomedical research field, and the status of health levels are really lower than the public. Mm-hmm. And that really strikes me, and this is not supposed to be. We should be leading the health and wellness status. We should be the role model for public to be health and to be well. But because of the structure and the training of the career, it turns out to be the opposite.
Right. Where people are getting sick, working on, sleeping on their feet, sort of. You mentioned that, you're spending more time writing grants and trying to get funded for research than actually doing your tests and being able to, participate. But the one thing that you did fall in love with was teaching and mentoring your students.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that part of the job, how you really grew to love that part?
I really love mentoring students. I was born to two teachers. Both of my parents are teachers. So I'm really good at extracting complicated knowledges and break down, and for other people to easily see it and understand it. And that's what I'm really enjoy doing, and all my students enjoy that as well. And I can put things in different perspective for them to see, has like a 3D view rather than 2D or 1D view of a problem, and they really enjoy and they really strive to understand the science in this field. But all the grant writing and research funding and all this administrative work really took me away from the things I really enjoy, which is teaching and mentoring. And when I say mentoring, I'm not just mentoring their academic work. I'm also mentoring how they set their mindset to look at the science in a fun and easy way, and really look beyond what we see as a physical body, but see it as a connected parts, rather than your heart is heart, heart problem,
yeah.
and then your leg problem is your leg problem. It's just a organic teamwork of the whole body, and we just have to connect dots and see it differently than mechanically. So all this I really enjoy, but I wasn't able to fully have the time and freedom to do it because of a lot of pressure coming from continuously writing grants and trying to prove ourselves to the world. Sometimes when you are having a leading thought in the field, and fewer people can understand you, and you have a tremendous hard time to explain, trying to prove yourself and convince others. And that's something that I really think I should spend more time doing something else, basically.
Well, and at least that's what it showed you, right? That's what you were hand walking yourself to. You had a great mentor there at the university too, who is no longer with us, Dr. David Selton. Can you tell us a little bit about your mentor?
Yeah, and I'm really blessed to have many mentors throughout all my life journey, and he's one of the amazing mentors that I have. He is kind, he is super smart, and he is really the heart and soul of our department and our sessions. So everybody loves him, the students, the faculties, and it was really a heartbroken event in our department that he had to pass away in the late 50s when he was at the peak of his career.
Right. I was reading your book, and I loved every bit of it, because it starts out at the beginning of your journey, and it just walks you through being a young child, going to school, and your relationship with your parents, and learning and being this, I don't want to call it an overachiever, but this like there's this greatness for excellence I feel in you, that was always there, and hence the dragon, right? And he was someone who had a big huge part in your life because of the way that he showed up on so many different levels. Like he was able to go to lectures, and he was always giving so much of his time. Again, one of those professionals that wasn't able to take care of himself as much because of all the demands of the rigorous schedules and everything that you have to do.
Right.
And so I remember reading a story where he fell asleep at the lecture, but he woke up at the end and he had questions that were right on point for everyone. He was always there for everyone.
We always laughed at that. That's just how smart he
It was like, ooh, he was listening while he was sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's so cool because I think if anyone's listening, not anyone, everyone who's listening out there, there's so many ways to mentor ourselves and grow forward. We're not stuck. And I think that's one of the main the caveats that will come out of this conversation today. Even Dr. Jume can tell you she had an amazing career in school. She had her dream job. Everything was going her way, but there was something just not pushing at her, and she wasn't quite happy, but she was happy, if that makes sense. And this was all the catalyst for her awakening journey. I think about when I cried when I read the book, and the way that you wrote so beautifully about Dr. David Selden, and when you and your medical research team found out that he was feeling a little low, and you guys drew these pictures and then took a picture of you holding him, telling him how much you loved him, and you sent them to his wife so she could show him them while he was, actually just, in bed, not, being sick, right?
Right. That was almost, if I remember correctly, is almost the last few weeks of his life.
Right. And that love that you guys sent to him was so amazing. It also drove me to another parameter in the story where your father, who passed away of cancer as well, you weren't able to make it back home to see him when the call came, but he reached and pointed for the bracelet that you had brought him when you went to visit him recently before you went back to the States. And it was the bracelet you gave him that had a saying on it for, it was a Buddhist bracelet or a passage?
Yeah, it's a Buddhism bracelet.
And he had a tear in his eye, and he smiled right before he passed away. And I draw a big correlation between those two mentors for you. And so I just, I think your mom has another great mentor. She told you don't have to do that if you don't want to. What would you like to do? And you picked, English, tech, and science. And all of these people, all of these journeys, all of the choices you made really have hand walked you to, the place where you've thrived the most. You have a quote, and it says, "Taking care of yourself is important, no matter what career you choose. Caring for yourself is the biggest gift to the people you love and the people you serve." That's Dr. Jume Zhang, author and life coach at HOE Holistic Wellness. And she has an amazing first book that she has out. Is that your first book, Jume?
That's actually the third book,
Okay.
But the other two was more of it looks like a children's book, but it's like picture story book. Yeah.
I have to go check those out because something made me ask. Okay, so that's right. There's other books. We'll have to go check them out. But the book that we're talking about today is The Joy of Letting Go of Your Biomedical Career, The Ultimate Quitter's Guide to Flourish Without the Burnout. Dr. Jume was at Burnout, and she was ready to walk into one of the biggest spiritual awakenings. And we're going to take a quick commercial break here, take a second, and then come back. Don't leave us. We're going to be jumping right back in to talk about this amazing journey, what it produced, which is the Level Up program. And it is part of her book and series that she teaches and coaches. And we're going to talk more about even the meaning of her name because it's really cool. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for meeting us here today at Alternative Talk 1150 AM KKNW. This is Conscious Speaks, live every Thursday with Kellie J. Our special guest today is Dr. Jumé, and she's author, life coach, and wisdom teacher, biomedical professor at the University of Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome back, Jumé.
Hi, Carrie. I'm here.
Good, good. Well, I want to dive into a little bit about how we are going to jump into your transformation work. We know that the catalyst for that is a life lived. And so we've talked a bit about that in your beginning journey. And I think it's really important to touch on how, if we look back in time, we can see how all these dots connect. And I'd like to go to the beginning. I know we talked about this yesterday, but I read somewhere on an Instagram post yesterday about there's a couple that were naming their new baby, and they wanted to talk about why they, picked the name and they had heard how important naming a baby was. And I just got chills because we had been talking about your name. And if you could tell the audience out there today, what your name means and the poem that you talked about.
Yeah, happy to talk about it. And I don't know if you believe or not, I was told that giving a name to a child is very sacred, and it really have a lot of impact on the life is forming for this person. And I believe it also means a lot for my name to my life. And so in Chinese character, these two character is Xue Mei, and Xue means snow, and Mei is the cherry blossom. So my father actually took this out of an ancient Chinese poem when a poet was looking at the early spring scenery with snow and cherry blossom together. And he envisioned that the snow and the cherry blossom was competing for who actually brought beauty to the early spring. And the poet was listening to their argument and find it's hard to decide who contributes more to the beauty. And then finally, he concluded that the snow should be the second to the cherry blossom for the fragrant that cherry blossom brought to this world. It's so good to smell, so refreshing. And but the cherry blossom should give away to the snow for the purity. And that was very beautiful poem. So a lot of people actually put that into the names, and that's why my father did that too. And but for them, I think the character of cherry blossom is what they really want me to grow up to carry as my character, is to be able to survive and thrive in the coldness. And in the whole winter, after the whole winter, cherry blossom is the first flower to show up before any other. So that's what they really want me to be, strong and to be outstanding. But later on in my life, to the transition point, is I really felt the meaning from the poet my father got my name from is really more profound wisdom and peace, bring peace to my life. It's to look at things at all beauty or all good, rather than defining absolutely truth or right or wrong, or just seeing everything in their own beauty. And the diversity is really what makes the whole world so beautiful.
It's so amazing. It's such a blessing to be able to hear that story and to connect it to you because I think you are all those things. I had written something down. It said, "I'm so glad everyone has got a chance to feel your fire in Viver because it is. It's like this snowy cherry blossom energy, this fiery energy, and you're such a beautiful wisdom teacher too. So let's talk about your passion for life coaching and
So
quantum.
a big quantum jump from science to being a scientist and then to be a life coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
it's a
right.
quantum jump.
It's so true. There's another quote that you have. It said, "Now is the what is the quote? Your now moment is the memory of your future you." And anybody out there who's listening, if you're a biomedical professional that's looking to, break out of your career, if I believe these lessons that Jume is teaching are they're linear, they could go to anyone that you connect to her soul strand. You could use these lessons, and a lot of her teaching is life coaching teaching, but the way you back it up with lessons that you've used your whole life. If you talk about mental rehearsal, can you talk about that a little?
We often stuck in our life problem, and because our focus was really on the problem and the past experience, and really using the past experience to influence what the now moment, and then we build upon that, and what we create is the same thing. The other day I was just talking to one of my clients, and we talk about because we were both Asian, and we had the moon cake.
Oh yeah.
And
Yum.
so when we make mooncake, you have to have this mold, right? And all the carves, the patterns or the character and flowers. And then you make the mooncake, and every mooncake you make is the same, right?
Mhm.
And so essentially you look at your problem, and then you're creating the same mold for the future. And so every day you look at the problem and you make your mooncake, and it comes out the same. And then you complain about the problem and so get stuck. So the way of using mental rehearsal is really bring you out of this pattern and make sure that you make a different mold for your mooncake. So tomorrow your mooncake will come out differently. And that's
Oh.
how you get out of your problem and get out of unstuck yourself.
Right, kind of like quitting medical school. Are you out of your mind or are you in? You're going to keep going forward and have it be different and get unstuck, right?
Yeah, but only when you are feeling you're stuck. Sometimes people, a lot of people are great scientists. They really enjoy, they come, it's their life purpose to come to be a scientist and contribute in this field. And, they are creating, tremendous values to this
Do,
world.
do you think
But
you could do both? Do you think you can be both or is that too hard to balance?
I think you can be both. It depends how, there's no fixed formula for you have to evolve in certain ways. Just like you mentioned early, everyone's journey is very different. It's very individual.
Hmm.
So the steps I lay out is just assisting you to build up your individual path. And
I like that.
um,
That's a good segue. Can you tell us about your level up process? It's pretty fascinating. And if anyone's listening out there to this and has the book, you can jump ahead and follow through. She's got lessons in the book for you to learn through. So it's really cool. Can you tell us about the level up process?
Yeah, the book is, on Amazon, and if you go to Amazon's link, and you will see this content, and you will see the 7-step up level process that I'm trying to use and to coach people when they are having trouble deciding whether they should leave their career, create a new one, or stay in the career and still but not having the same problem over and over again.
Right.
So I call this Uplevel, and it's an acronym, like U for unload, and P for purpose, L for leverage, E for envision, and V for voice, and E for empower, L for level. So it's a acronym and combined as Uplevel. So this is the 7-step process, I teach and coach people in their career decision making. And I don't know which one you're most want to know about.
Well, I was looking at all of them pretty deeply. We could look at since it's a 7-step, we could look at chapter 7, which is the power of inside out. When you're presented what is the international conference? I think you were talking about when you're in the international conference in Japan, you were able.
Oh, that envision.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
So, yeah, I didn't know that at all. Like I was actually using that all the time in my life.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Like you're doing this already your whole life.
Right. Right. Like before every lecture I go, I kind of feel like almost like a teleport into like the mini future. Like, tomorrow I have the lecture, or tomorrow I have like giving a seminar, and I already can feel what my audience like their response and the environment and how the lecture go. But I do it like intuitively. I don't know what it's called until I was trained during my coach training. And we do a lot of mental rehearsal, visualization, and the process. And right now, a lot of people doing it. Even originally, people use this technology to train athletes.
Right.
Yes. And in my book, I mentioned a lot of scientific experiment to measure that.
The slit experiment. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, one of them is the piano test, right? And the two groups of piano students and one practiced the same piece they learned, practiced physically with their piano and hands-on experience. Yes. The other just the mental rehearsal practice, visualization, and the mental rehearsal. It's a little bit different, but you can read the book about it. And then the results is they come out pretty much similar. So it's just the power that you can envision and create your reality.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's really, I think I'm going to take a second to elaborate there. Jumei's 5-year-old son is taking piano lessons, and he's very good, and they're getting ready to go to a huge concert, but they wanted all the children, I guess, was to get a feeling for being on stage before they go. So it's kind of the mental rehearsing, but in real life. And in the end of the experiment, per se, he didn't do well because he was under stress, but everyone applauded him and said he did great. They'd see him in New York. And so he was a little confused. And it's that whole thing of imagining yourself there. It's like that they were kind of showing him, you're going to be fine no matter what. And I really hooked those two together with the visualizing and mental rehearsal, the power of mental imagery. We do this for life, sort of, but when we could take it to the extent that you're training in your book, it could become a whole nother experience. Talk about your archery experience with this.
Yeah, and again, it was not conscious use, but looking back, it's actually application of this as well. And because my tight schedule, and I was not be able to go to my archery training as much as the team would be expecting. So, but like I was accidentally watching on YouTube the World Archery, and literally watching other world top archers. How do they compete? I was just enjoy it. And then I realized while I was watching it, I almost like embody myself, like merge with them, and I can feel how they draw their bow, their arrow, putting on, and every movement I can feel it. Even before they release their string, I can almost felt where the arrow is going to land, and like 80% of the time was right because you feel it. As a top archer, you will know where your arrow is going to land even before you release your string. Right. So yeah, and then I was watching, like I almost like every week, because you're watching an episode is only like, maybe at most half an hour or something, but you go to archery training, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. So that actually saves you time. I'm not like saying this, everyone should do that.
I know.
I'm totally on that. But it is very true. If you know how to do it, if you know how to do it right, this visualization and mental rehearsal really can help you.
Yeah.
Very effective, because you can do it anywhere.
Well, and it's another thing that just hit me right in the middle of my third eye that said, you are very phenomenal. I'm like, when it's like, oh, she's an artist too. Oh my goodness. And then she doesn't have to practice. She gets to watch the videos and mentally be there, and she's practicing. So she's doing like 3 different things at once. And I thought, you are amazing. And this is why, you have, this is your calling. This is your journey, I'm so excited for you. For anyone out there listening, the joy of letting go of your biomedical career, the ultimate quitter's guide to flourish without the burnout. That you could go to Jumei's website, www.hoeholisticwellness.com, and you can download the book today for free. She's gave that as a gift to everyone. The 7-step level up process is in the book, and she has ways for her to reach you so she can guide you. It's coming to me. I would love for you to tell them what the HOE stands for.
Oh, that's another story.
Yeah, I like that.
I usually quiz people, and so yeah, there's a motto for my company is stop hoping and start believing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was always quiz people. I say, being hopeful is very important for people from a place of hopeless, and then you something in their life gives them hope and to move on, to live on. So that's very important. But don't just stop at that hopeful place. I would like to remove the P from the hope, and P stands for anything in your life that prevents you from reaching your dream, reaching your goal. And so you always like, I hope, when people say like, I hope I can do something, I hope I this, I hope that, and there is like underneath there is something that not quite believing they can actually do it.
Right.
So I really want to remove that, something that really prevents you and block you, remove the roadblock for you. So if you remove the P, and the left is HOE, and I always quiz people, guess what HOE stands for?
I know, I read the book. Heaven on Earth.
Yeah, so you have the answer if you read the book. If anyone wants to read the book, so I'll just give you the answer, spoil you for now.
Tell us, I want to hear it in your frequency. Tell us what HOE stands for.
So HOE stands for Heaven on Earth.
Yes.
So if everyone can remove their blockages, things that prevent, and including the fears and all the reasons for you to be fear, for you to angry, for you to trying to push against something, and anything that like blocking you from being living in a joyful, peaceful, and thriving life. If we can remove that, and everyone's living a purposeful and fulfilling and joyful and exciting life, then the earth will be a very different place.
Yeah, we would have peace on earth. It's a real thing. When you explained that beautiful connection to hope and to HOE and holistic wellness, it makes me think of a passage from the book, and I don't know if it was from Myth 3, but you talked about when you're on one step, you might spend so much time there, you get comfortable, and that's kind of what I see as you're circling. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but that's where your limit of your expectations have gone, and you don't sometimes know there might be another step up. Can you talk about that?
Oh yeah, I remember what you're talking about. So when we are on the journey, it's not like a linear, smooth journey. There's like, imagine you have steps to move forward, move upwards, right?
Yeah.
So oftentimes when we, the step is like really gigantic step. It's long, imagine that. And then when you're on one step, one level of your life, and if you just got on the step, you're so excited because you are higher than the previous step. But after a while, you get so used to it, and everything that helps you up level to this point, they're glorifying success, but sometimes we attach to those and so tightly. And by the time you reach the end of that step, if you don't let go those previous success, previous, glorious method or belief system, and you have to let go in order to go to the next step, because you have to leave them on the step and get to the next step, which is higher, right? A lot of time, and we have so much attachment, and it's not conscious. It's a habit. We're autopiloting on this level, and by the time we reach to the end of this level, you get hit. It's like the end of the step, right? You hit the wall, and this is the time really is like a sign to let you know you already accomplished all what you need to do in this level, and it's time to upgrade.
I just got spiritual chills through my neck. It's so powerful because it's so true. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It means you've reached your level. You've done everything you could there. It's time to level up. Dr. Zhumei Zhang has a 7-step process, level up. Through, and it's she coaches through her www.holisticwellness.com. The book that she just released, The Joy of Letting Go of Your Biomedical Career, The Ultimate Quitter's Guide to Flourish Without Burnout, is for sale on Amazon, or you can go to her website to get your free copy today. I wanted to just give a quick acknowledgement. At the end of Zhumei's book, she says, "To me, spending 10 months making a human being is not a miracle. I did it twice." Or I'm sorry, yeah, I did it twice, but I had to repeat that. I'm like, it's not, but I did, but I did it twice. I never thought I could write a book in 9 weeks. Words cannot express my gratitude towards Dr. Andrea Loria and her team at the Author Incubator, who made this 9-week journey the life-changing miracle for me. Thank you for so much joining the show today. Thank you for doing your journey with Dr. Angela, and thank you for bringing your work to us here at Conscious Speaks. Thank you for joining us today at Conscious Speaks Radio, a place where we come together each week to discuss the mysteries of life, the light and the dark, the sweet and the salty, the divine mysteries of being human, a place where we mentally hold hands, naturally gravitating to each other through the cosmic airwaves of space and time. Knowing like bees to honey and goodness, this is a place to take comfort in the knowing that it is from and through each other that we grow in our greatest leaps and bounds.